Hilton to be able to practice and play this week?
It's trending in the right direction.
We'll let you let DJ Ivy clear today. What's your plan for him?
Start practicing him, just see where he's at. It's been last December, I think, is when it happened. So he's looked really good on the rehab field. Obviously, he wasn't able to come up those first 4 weeks, and so it made sense now to get him up with the injury to Dax. And we'll just see where he's at. But everything's been really good in the rehab phase of things, so we'll just take a look at him.
Do you expect Shelton to practice today?
We'll work him in this week and see where he's at.
Is it realistic that DJ could potentially be active coming back?
Really hard for me to say. There's always ways for him to begin to get up on special teams and feel more comfortable in phases, but until we get him out there in practice, I mean, I'm just trying to picture myself putting on the pads for the first time since December, and getting out there is a challenge, but we'll see where he's at.
Can you talk a little bit about the challenges that you guys face with Dexter Lawrence, and how is he different than some of the other really good premier defensive tackles you face?
When you talk about premier defensive tackles, they affect you in every which way. The run game, the protections, their overall intelligence, like just how they're being blocked and how to attack the blocks. He is as disruptive as they come. I mean, he really set the tone on the second play of the season with a sack on Sam Darnold, and so he's up there with the best. And he's complemented well inside. They have really good other defensive tackles. They've got great defensive ends, and so it's as tough a front as you're going to face in this league.
How do you feel like y'all developed in terms of the defense of interior defensive tackles over the years?
Say that again. Start over, please.
How do you feel like y'all have developed in terms of game plan and make sure you minimize interior defensive ends?
I think we've always. I mean, we don't want them to disrupt the game, and so we always put a lot of time and effort into making sure that we can try to minimize their strengths. It's not always possible, especially when they have a lot of them, because sometimes you just got to pick your poison and trust them one-on-one situations. But we've been fortunate, having basically our staff in place for 6 years. We faced everybody you could face, and so those protection plans have evolved over the years. The run game has evolved over the years to try to minimize them and give us our best chance to be successful.
I guess more generally on that note, why do you think your offensive pass protection has been a step up this year? You've said that on a few occasions now.
Continuity with those guys. They're a very cohesive unit. The chemistry's great. Frank and Derek have done a great job with the group. Those guys are bought in. It's important to them. And again, we're trying to do everything. The run game certainly helps take the pressure off and allows us to do some things. And so, again, I think that they've done a really good job for us and give us a good chance to be successful in the pass game.
In addition to T's productivity, what else has he given you since he's been back to maybe create other matchups for the rest of the offense?
Well, even when he's not, his productivity is still not always statistics. Just him being out there, him being on the same side as Jamar, him being opposite Jamar, you really can't leave him one-on-one. And so it certainly creates decisions people got to make. Again, he's a top receiver in this league, and so when you got two of those guys, it's a great strength of ours.
Do you guys feel that you're better suited because of the progression in the run game this season to take on a team like the Giants, who are so dominant at the line of scrimmage?
It helps, any way you can try to attack them to where they don't know what's coming. We always try to marry that stuff together so that they don't know run or pass based on personnel, based on formation, based on a lot of different things. And so we spend a lot of time and energy trying to, before the ball's even snapped, give ourselves the advantage and keep them guessing so they can't play as fast to try to minimize their strengths.
I guess that's my point, is that you don't feel as predictable this year. Is that fair to say?
I'll let somebody else say that. But again, for us, it's really, we got a theme on what we want to be offensively, but it's also game to game on how we're going to play people and what we think we can do to be successful.
What's been the message or point of emphasis to the defense going into this week?
I think just do your job. You don't have to do too much. Don't try to do somebody else's job. Just stay within yourself. So again, I'm confident that we'll head in the right direction there.
Has there been a specific message, maybe the defensive captains, that you want relayed to that whole group?
A specific message, no. It's just been a message to the whole group.
When you're not playing as well as you want to be on one side of the ball, particularly on defense, how do you get to become more opportunistic? Like, for example, Geno Stone, big reason why you guys wanted him was his ability to take the ball away. Like, how do you get guys like that to be able to put themselves in positions to make more plays on the
You
ball?
just the plays will come to you. You don't, if you're trying to force it, if you're trying to stress it. Certainly, we talk about takeaways every week, and we emphasize it in practice. We emphasize it in the meeting room. But a lot of those naturally come just because you're playing great defense, and so more opportunities come your way when everyone's in sync and playing together, and they tend to come in bunches. And so again, just everyone keep doing their job, and those opportunities will come for everybody.
When Jamar's made a bunch of big plays now a couple weeks in a row. Whenever we ask anyone, everyone's just like, "That's just Jamar." Like, do you almost like on the sideline even expect it or just nod along with it when he does something crazy like the 70-yard screen or the touchdown down the half? It almost didn't surprise you anymore.
No, that does not surprise me. It's any play call. Oftentimes, you do think about quick game. Okay, if we catch this coverage with this, he might score from anywhere. T's really the same way. You know, you saw the Pittsburgh clip last year on a slant. So both of those guys, we try to do our best to put them in the best position to get that yards after the catch and take advantage of how people are going to play them, because you know they do treat us oftentimes different than other teams we've seen on tape, and I think the offensive coaches have done a great job putting a plan together to make sure that we're always one step ahead and just get the ball to Jamar and let him sometimes do the rest. But that screen, it looks really muddy. That's Drew and Eric doing an unbelievable job at the point of attack. Unbelievable job to where no one can come off, and then Jamar was able to make a lot of people miss. But I think that was a good job by the three of those guys.
After the game, we heard a lot about how the pass rush and the pass coverage is being married up and be in sync, maybe a little bit better. Why has that kind of been an issue so far early on?
Well, there's some times it was, and Lamar just extends the play, and that's going to create the different levels of people when you're zero blitzing a guy and he makes the free blitzer miss, and he extends time in the pocket. Then it's going to look like, man, who's got that guy? And so he's obviously creates a lot of stress in your team. I think Daniel Jones does a really good job this year. I mean, just watching these last couple games in particular, he's in great command. He does a good job using his feet. They utilize him in the run game. He's been really accurate as a passer, and so he's going to be a big challenge because I think he's playing with a lot of confidence right now and doing a good job moving that unit forward.
Where would you put your level of concern as to where the defense is at and kind of where it's trending?
I've got confidence in our team.
Have you noticed anything when looking back so far this season as to why some of the third down struggles with the defense are happening?
We got to put ourselves in more advantageous third downs.
I know you want to go week by week all the time as a team, but when you are staring at 1-4, does it feel like there's an extra weight on you, like your back's against the wall?
I think you got to do everything to make sure it's just a normal week for us. I don't believe you play your best when you think that way, and I think that's been a strength of this team this season over past seasons. Of when you watch us in the building, there's always a level of urgency that's always there. We have our standard, and when you watch practice, you wouldn't know what our record was based on the energy and the attention to detail, and so. That's something we got to continue moving forward, and that's something we really pride ourselves in as a team, and will lead to success in the future by having that mentality every single week.
When you look back to a couple of years ago, when you ripped off 10 wins in a row, what was it about the team at that time that allowed you to do that?
The same, because that was a year we were playing a lot of division leaders and great teams, and so you could never look beyond anybody because they would bite you. And I think that's where we just one game at a time. Let's find a way to beat this team, and that's no different this week with New York. It's just find a way to beat New York, and then we're on to the next one, and that'll solve a lot of our problems if we can just look at it that way.
When the offense is playing the way that it is, are you more willing to employ a defense that's maybe more volatile or takes more risks in terms of trying to just force issues, create turnovers, as opposed to maybe when you're trying to play field position games when you're a little more worried about where your offense is at?
I think, we just, again, whatever we can do to put the offense, their offense, off balance, that's what we got to do. And so we certainly as a team always go into a game of here's how this game is going to be played and here's what we're going to need from all three phases. But at the same time, you want the defensive game plan to be we dictate the tempo, we dictate the down and distance, and we've got the advantage. And so any plan, anything we can get the players to do to get us in that position is what we tend to do.
What stands out about Malik Neighbors
I think his play strength is really good, so he's got suddenness. You saw the double move against Dallas, I think it was. You see some of those catch and runs against Washington where he's got really good play strength to fight through contact. He's got really good play strength and quickness to make a guy miss after the catch and be able to get some really solid yak. They move him around. I mean, he's a guy clearly they're trying to get touches to, so they're doing all the things that you do to try to get touches to a guy. And for a rookie, he's done a great job taking all that in. So obviously they put it all on his plate. He's able to handle it, it appears. And he's a real weapon for him. So I'm sure they got to feel good about that pick. And he's certainly been a big weapon for him. I know he didn't play last week, and we would expect him to play this week. And he'll be a real challenge for us.
You guys are playing a lot of rookies. Is that something you think about, you're cognizant of, or you're at this point a couple months in, you just let them play? How much is that something that's on your mind?
We only play guys that earn it. That's the truth. It's whoever's on a roster, whether you're a first-year guy or 10th-year guy. If we really feel like you've earned the opportunity, then we'll get you on the field. If you haven't earned the opportunity, then you're not going to be on the field. And so it's as simple as that. And then you earn our trust, obviously, with the more reps you get and the more you handle meetings and the more you handle all your preparation. Everybody can see it. It's very difficult to lie to people when they see you every single day. And so a lot of those guys have done an outstanding job earning the opportunity, earning our trust. And we know that there's going to be mistakes with all these guys. And sometimes you're just going to have to live through it. But we got a really good class that is all deserving of opportunity. And the guys that aren't are one snap away, really, from getting out there and getting a chance to make their impression, and those guys will be ready as well. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Zach.